Hello, everybody. Howdy. It is a beautiful day, might I say, and by that I mean very windy and also chilly and rainy and wet. Yeah, it's going good. Um, okay. What is up? Yeah, man, I've been looking forward to today in terms of streaming. Because I get to cover some stuff that is going to be interesting, to say the least. Let's see. Let me share this to Twitter. Hold on. Probably should have been set up before I did anything. I had to test. I was a little late just because I was testing some audio things, which took an unusual amount of time. Okay, so that's good. It's okay. That's all settled. My follower count on Twitter has been slowly but surely dwindling. I guess I'm just not good enough. Oh, man. I'm returning to tradition with my coffee because, I used to drink it always black, but now, I've added creamer since then. But today, just doing the black coffee, and it's very good for you. That's the only reason, really, why I drink coffee. Okay. Hopefully the lighting is okay. It's kind of dark. Yeah, I could turn on the light. Hold on. Okay, that seems better. Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So what's going on? We have a lot to discuss. Yeah. Let me first start off. Let me talk about some things that. Yeah. Okay, let's start with this actually. Let me pull this up. Hold on. Okay. Before we get into the craziness that is Kanye, let's go over some good news, right? Let me pull it up. Give me one moment to do so. All right. Here we go. So, yeah, the same-sex marriage bill has been talked about for a little bit now, and it has recently been gone through the Senate. So let's read a little bit about what this actually means exactly. So, the Senate passed a bipartisan legislation Tuesday to protect same-sex marriages, an extraordinary sign of shifting national politics on the issue and a measure of relief for hundreds of thousands of same-sex couples who have married since the Supreme Court's 2015 decision. The bill, which would ensure that same-sex and interracial marriages are enshrined in federal law, was approved 61 to 36 on Tuesday, including support from 12 Republicans. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the legislation was a long time coming and part of America's difficult but inexorable march towards greater equality. I don't know if exhilarable would be the best way to describe the state of the United States. Democrats are moving quickly while the party still holds the majority in both chambers of Congress. The legislation now moves to the House for a final vote, likely next week. Now, if I remember correctly, do the Democrats hold the... Do they hold the House? Is that right? Did they retain the House, I mean? I don't think they did. But regardless, 12 Republicans had supported it. I don't know what the margins are here. Seems like it's going to pass in the House, just based upon the fact that more Republicans than we expected voted to pass this. Biden praised the bipartisan vote. Of course he did, because it's a good thing. The bill has gained steady momentum since the Supreme Court's June decision. Yeah, okay, so a new law protecting same-sex couple would also be a major victory for Democrats as they've relinquished their 2 years of consolidated power in Washington. Right. Okay. So with respect to like why Republicans decide to vote in favor of this, honestly, I can't really pinpoint something right now, at least. There's definitely a reason. There might have been concessions made, like, if you do this for me for a different bill, then I'll do this for you for this one, sort of deal, which is kind of like playing politics in general. That could be it. There may even be like an actual answer. I don't know. But regardless, his passing is really important. There have been discussions since Roe v. Wade got overturned whether or not they will go after Obergefell versus Hodges. And that was, obviously prompted by the, Scalia and the opinion he had wrote with respect to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. So, yeah, I mean, like, this is obviously a step in the right direction. Is there anything else that I may need to be aware of here? No, just that they passed it. Cool. Man, I hate these websites. It's crazy. Yeah, so I mean the bill being passed here is an advancement through for greater equality. This is one of those things where it's like, I mean, it's pretty obvious, like nobody. I mean, like, I don't really want to get bogged down in the weeds with the arguments regarding same-sex marriage because, I mean, like, it's a pretty, like, obvious sort of thing, right? The only reason why I would think anybody would be against such a thing is if they are staunchly, religious or just hate gay people. I mean, like, that's really the only explanations I have for you. But this is good. And with that, there isn't much more to be said about it. I think it will pass the House, but I guess we'll see, right? Oh, boy. Yeah. Anyway, that is that. Which is good hopium news. We don't really get that, enough nowadays, What else has happened? Oh, obviously there's the railroad strike that's going on with Biden, the union shit. They voted to... So, if you don't know what's going on, they voted to the Congress voted to, I guess, break up the union, and the genesis of this union among the railroad workers is because they wanted to get more sick days because they were on call like all the time, and there was very little to no room for error with respect to calling off, and they work really long hours and things of that nature. So they were wanting to have gotten more sick days, and that's not an unreasonable request, but they were on strike. It was it's an industry. The railroad industry is one that is considered of national security interests. So I believe that gave that allowed rather the federal government to be able to vote on such a union busting measure, I guess, and it ended up being that they voted against the union, or voted for the union to dissolve or what have you, I guess. And honestly, man, it is a wholesome L taken by the Biden administration. There's really no redeeming quality here. In fact, let me pull up. Well, maybe there's video on Twitter. I just need a clip. I don't need like a whole video. I need this. Here you go. Hold on. This is so the framing around this whole railroad thing has been also pretty crazy. To illustrate this, and this is pretty annoying. Because I'm trying to find the video. Joe Biden signed a bill to block a national U.S. railroad strike that could have wrecked the nation's economy. So the framing here isn't around the workers or the sick leave that they should be receiving. The framing is that, well, yeah, we have human rights, there's human rights that we could be, pushing for, but I mean, the economy, fuck the economy. Like, the framing here is not one that prioritizes human welfare. It's more so the broader economy thing, right? Does he address it here? Why is this glitching? This is weird. Now I'm assuming you can hear this. It is kind of quiet. Okay, I got it. I just want to find the one video. Yeah, so basically the way in which the mainstream media is talking about this has been one that doesn't seem to give a fuck about workers, and more so discussing the ramifications broadly among the economy. Oh, let me turn this up. Yeah, that's another thing, dude. They're talking about like they bring up all these points, one of which being the economy, and also they're talking about the fact that the holidays are right around the corner, as if it's relevant. Good. For a second here, just reflect upon the fact that all of this is only taking place because the company isn't adhering to some basic shit that the union is requesting. The most important of that being the sick days. Just give these fucking people sick days, and you wouldn't have to worry about your Christmas presents not arriving on time. Yeah. Again, completely ignoring the requests of the union for soliciting more sick days. I mean, among other things, but yeah, that's like the main thing, really. Yikes. So, what are these workers supposed to do? So, they receive the bonuses and all that, but that's not really the thing that's most important here. A lot of these people are at risk of being fired or what have you on the basis of having an unexpected illness. So, what is that bonus? How does this meaningfully affect anything, really? I mean, like, if there's a time in which they are unexpectedly, come down with something, and I mean, with this kind of job, it's like you're on call all the time. So if get sick and you can't come into work and you have to call off on what they would be considered short notice, then what are you supposed to do? You're at risk of being laid off, right? Um, it's just like the main thing that should have been in this provision was the sick leave, but this failed, I guess, in Congress. Um, yeah, I don't know. Why do you say it like that? Oh god. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Basically, there again. This story is. I mean, it's been going on for a little bit, but yeah. I mean, like, look at the end of the day, this is yeah. I mean, it's not good that Biden had you know did this. Hold on, what's that? Definitely not cool. But yeah, look, what's there to take away from the story? Okay, the takeaway is that the federal government hates you. Corporations hate you, and this also, by the way, elucidates the relationship, or this illustrates rather the relationship that businesses have with the government, and why that capitalism plays a role in facilitating the power that these corporations have with the federal government, um, and and as a result, it leaves the workers at a disadvantage, both monetarily, but also in terms of benefits and stuff. Uh, and that's it. I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't know, man. If I was like part of that union, I just feel like I should like just quit. I mean, like I know it's easy for me to say, but at the same time, it's like if you're not going to get the sick leave anyway, and that's like the main thing that you need, like I don't know. But again, I'm not in their position, so I can't really speak to that. All right, let's get to the main story. Uh, okay. Go to history. Okay. So, hold on. Gotta wait for it to load. All right. I gotta turn on desktop audio. All right. So while I watch this, we're gonna play some games as we watch this. Actually, no, not on Steam. Let me go here. Let me just get this set up first. Man, I need a new mouse and a new mouse pad. I've had this for at least 6 years. It's gonna be quite a bit. Quite a long time I've had this. Alright, let's launch this, and then I'm going to have to see what the audio levels are like. I might have to turn down. Maybe. Yeah, boy, you know what time it is. Alright, let's check it out. There might be an echo. I don't know. Well, let's just, really turn it down. Yeah. And go to here. Okay. Alright. Yeah, let me, hold on. Sorry, I'm gonna have to adjust the camera too. Because, the contrast is too high. Hold on. Alright. So that's taken care of. Oh, God. Alright, let me, pull this up here. Oh, hello. That came out of nowhere. Got that. Pull up the window. Oh, I don't have picture yet. Come on. Beautiful. All right. Got that. Let's check the audio here. Oh wait, I needed it. My bad. Gonna have to want to put that down here.
you were with your families or loved ones, or at least...
Okay, that should be good. Alright. Let me just back up. I think we're Gucci? Pretty sure we are. Yeah. Alright. Take a swig real quick. The mouse is acting weird. Alright. So, yeah, we should be ready to go. Alright. So, I don't even know how to begin this segment. So, a lot of you know, or may or may not know, that Kanye West has been on a anti-Semite arc, and that has led to him, you know, being this sort of like, you know, figure that the right wing has clamored to in an attempt to either farm clout or to exploit for the purposes of, you know, propagating their own either conspiracy theories or ideology. Now, Tim Pool had Kanye on, and well, not even just Kanye. He had they had Kanye, Nick Fuentes, and Minneapolis. Basically, all these guys are Nazis. That's not even an exaggeration. And they, they had an interview here, and I am here to listen to it. Now, there is a thing I know about this, and I know that this is several days old, so I'm sure some of you are already aware. But there is a thing I know about it that I won't, I guess, spoil, in case someone else doesn't know. And we'll just watch it, I guess. I don't know how long this goes on for. Now, I know the video length is 2 hours. I don't know if we're going to listen to the whole thing. I guess we'll see. I don't know. But anyway, let's just enjoy ourselves. All right. Yeah, let's just begin. Now, I will stop and provide my thoughts accordingly. But I don't know for, how many times I will be. And while we are doing this, I'm going to be playing Diablo, because Diablo is rad, as the kids say. Alright, let me put you here. And let's begin.
I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. You were with your families or loved ones, or at least relaxed and enjoyed yourself. Over the past week, there was a particularly big news story that's resulted in a continued news cycle, which is now going on for over a week, which is in many ways unheard of. But right now, because Donald Trump went to dinner with Ye and Nick Fuentes, among others, he is now being denounced by Mike Pence, several Republican senators, and for whatever reason, this story, for many reasons I suppose people have made, this story has persisted until today. And we are able to actually sit down with several of the individuals involved in that story, notably Ye, Nick Fuentes, and Minneapolis, of course, who made the dinner happen.
Oh my god, hold on. Let me just clear this out, then I'll have to see what's going on. Sorry about the interruption. Yeah, hold on. My dog is so fucking annoying. Are you protecting us? Are you protecting us over there? There's nobody there. There's nobody there. Ow. Okay. Actually, let me close this because... Okay. Let's continue.
It's got the-
No, I had the dinner invite before I met Milo.
Okay, my bad. There you go. So we're gonna jump right into
I
this
just
news story.
overcomplicated.
God, I hate my mouse.
Absolutely.
Why is it all weird?
So we're gonna start with that, and there's a lot we want to talk about. And you know what, man? This is a very big story. A lot of people have questions about
Yeah, we can
what were Trump's intentions, why were certain people invited, and Trump, of course, has issued.
Okay, so the premise behind this interview is that they want to talk about the denunciation that Kanye has experienced as a product of him going to a dinner with Donald Trump. And not only was he invited, but Nick Fuentes was there as well. I believe Milo was invited, but I could be wrong about that. It could have just been Fuentes as well as Trump, or as well as Kanye. My bad.
Issued statements. So a lot of people want to know where he stands, and more importantly, what happened there and why. And there's also the questions about what Yay 24 means, and I'll keep that a little bit vague so that they can answer to that and speak more to that. And then, of course, we're going to get into a lot of different issues. However, head over to timcast.com and become a member. We're going to have a members-only uncensored show, which will probably get a bit more in-depth on a lot of other issues.
It's going to get spicy.
I'll just leave it at that. Timcast.com, become a member, support our work, and we'll talk about more there. Smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Joining us, as I mentioned, is we have Ye himself. Would you like to introduce yourself, good sir?
You did it.
We all know who he is.
I think everybody knows who you are. And which you gentlemen would like to introduce yourself?
Nicholas, please.
Hi, yeah, I'm Nick Fuentes. First time here on the Timcast.
Oh, dude. Nick is nervous. That's a little surprising. Because he's, like a charismatic guy.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you do?
Oh, I'm a live streamer. I do a
Awkward.
show called America First on Cozy.tv.
All right. And, of course, Milo, you were here a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I'm your best ever guest.
So we've been told that the episode with you was one of the best podcasts ever. People really enjoyed hearing you speak.
I think exactly.
Okay. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks. I was wondering how I was going to make it even more extraordinary the second time I visited, but I think I might have pulled it off.
Luke's here.
Total Sausage Fest tonight. Welcome. My name is Ogrodowski of wearechange.org. Today I'm wearing my Didn't Epstein himself t-shirt, which you could get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And I think we should be using that word a little bit more, just like, this YouTube channel didn't Epstein itself. And if this YouTube channel is Epsteined, we will be streaming on Twitter. So yeah, I started...
So it's not uncommon for there to be an overlap between conservative ideology and conspiracy theories. With respect to Epstein, I think many people, including myself, would agree that he likely didn't commit suicide, but I just think that the glorification of, this conspiracy, or being, like, it's to the point where he has this thing on his shirt and is, saying, like, we gotta use this phrase from now on, seems a little weird. But what the fuck do I know?
Started a t-shirt company after YouTube demonetized me, so thebestpoliticalshirts.com, because you guys buy it. That's why I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
And, of course, Serge.
And I am Serge.com. Pleasure, guys.
I don't know
All
who
right.
any of these people
And
are.
I'll just pull up this story from The Hill, which is from earlier today, 5 p.m. Pence says Trump should apologize. It's wrong to give anti-Semite a seat at the table. This, of course, is related to a dinner that happened, and I was wrong a little on the details. So a dinner happened. Nick, you were there. Ye, you were there. I just want to start off by how did this dinner come to happen, and what happened?
I was talking to Trump for about a month. We had scheduled the dinner in October, and then he announced for president. He pushed the
It's a
dinner
little
back to
quiet.
November. And I've been pulling together a campaign, and after I put up the DEF CON tweet, a bunch of people that had been canceled, like Alex Jones, I started getting in contact with other people that were now on the inside of the matrix. And
What?
Alex Jones, producer, said that Milo wanted to contact me, and here we are.
So that's how you guys got in contact.
Yeah, originally, and then I suggested that we bring in Nicholas as a enormous extra brain firepower that he is. He's the most extraordinarily brilliant political commentator of his generation, and he's been treated just about as badly as anybody. So I thought he deserved to be in the room too. And
there isn't really much to be said
that's
here.
pretty much how we got together.
So I have some questions about that, but we'll get through the dinner portion of how exactly this happened, what went down. So this is how you get in contact, the three of you. How is it that Nick ends up invited to this dinner, and what happened?
Well, he was rolling with me. I was impressed with Nick, and I was like, just come to the dinner. And we had Karen Giorno pick us up from the airport. And there was a lot of back and forth. There's another gentleman named Jamar Montgomery that was with us. It's he's an engineer at Boeing, and
I'm telling him just we should raise everyone's volume.
Okay, cool. And we sat there, and it was like when Trump came in, I said, do you want to sit alone? He's like, no, bring your friends in. So a big thing is like Trump had no idea who Nick Fuentes was. But this whole, I just got to go right to the heart of this anti-Semite claim that's happening.
I gotta go right into the
something,
JQN.
If you read the definition, it says you can't claim that there's multiple people inside of banks or in media that are all Jewish, or you're anti-Semitic. And that's the truth.
Why are we... Hold on. Wait. Why are we talking about that? I mean, we can get into that, sure. If you want to go off and talk about the Jews, let's keep it in your pants for a minute, buddy. We're talking about the dinner with Trump. Let's calm down here.
It's the truth. What are we talking about? And
Library, what do you mean? You mean...
I'm saying, I've been labeled anti-Semite, right? So,
yeah,
there's different beliefs about our bloodlines, like the documentary that Kyrie posted, and in general, America has been left ignorant, and history has been changed.
So the documentary that Kyrie Irving shared a tweet over. I think it was he shared a book. He retweeted a book which was inspired by retweeted a documentary that was inspired by a book. That's right. And the documentary is essentially just black Nazism. And that's not even me being, exaggerating or anything. This is unequivocally what the content of the book is about. And I think that the outrage as a result of Kyrie having shared that tweet is pretty I guess expected, or it's obvious. We'll see how far we get into the weeds with that specifically, but I don't know. This is, by the way, just deviating from the central discussion point being about the dinner with Donald Trump.
So when we start questioning things that question the indoctrination, then you immediately get, you said debanked, or what did you say happened to you? Or
demonetized, deplatformed.
Demonized, demonetized. And what's so beautiful about this time is everyone got to see what's really been happening. And now we can really understand. We can see that Ron Emanuel was right next to Obama, and then Jared Kushner was right next to Trump.
We are...
But so we're getting right into it, I guess, right? I was hoping to go for the news first before we got into all of this stuff.
Dude, okay, so oh my god, this is going to be so interesting to watch. So, the dynamic that's going to be taking place here, from my guess, is that Kanye is going to be pretty explicit with the whole the Jews control the banks in the world, narrative. And because Tim Pool is an individual who, who serves the interests of these groups of people, he will have to toe this line of not being so explicit about it. Because if you are explicit about it, then you turn away at you become less appealing to the average viewer, right? So I mean, I've only seen one example so far in this video, but the overt anti-Semitism is going to be something that Tim Pool is going to have to dance around throughout the conversation. That's my guess here.
I think the issue is one way to put it is you're expounding upon a localization issue that you've witnessed, right? Let me clarify. There are a handful of people that you see are Jewish in a certain place, and then you associate Judaism with the power, whereas I view that as not relevant to it. Like, yeah, you're substantially more powerful than I am, but I don't view what you're doing as an issue of black people.
Yeah, but have you ever heard the term the black vote? So it's okay to put us in one net, but it's not okay for me to put them in one net.
No. So that's not the same thing. So this analogy doesn't actually work. When people refer to the black vote, they're referring to a voting bloc, a voting demographic, and the trends thereof. When you refer to the Jews, you're referring to a broader conspiracy theory. Those are not the same. They're not describing the same things.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's the basis of the hypocrisy that people have been thinking about,
dude,
and knowing about.
The tone of this guy's voice, so fucking pompous, dude. That's what we're telling you. The Jews control the world. Like, shut the fuck up, man.
And realizing for decades, we were all wondering how this dam was going to break. Everybody in the country was wondering, what is the root of this hypocrisy? Why can people talk about white people a certain way? Why can't they talk about that group a certain way? And
So the thing is that you can be anti-Semitic. That is a thing you can't, like, that's a choice you can make. It's not a matter of whether you can or cannot say these things. It is a matter of, the idea here. The idea here is that there is like this cabal of people. Like, if you say something anti-Semitic or bigoted or racist on a social media platform and you get deplatformed, then they use this as fodder for the broader conspiracy. It's sort of like a self-serving thing, right? And yeah, I mean, like that. I don't know. It's like circular reasoning. There's really like, that's like the best way to describe it, and it sort of kind of underlines the how mentally unstable these people actually are and how inconsistent their ideology is. So it's worth keeping in mind.
Wretched and wicked and oppressive prevailing orthodoxy of cancel culture. Well, it turned out that
orthodosy
the one thing that was going to break the dam was the biggest star in the world, and it took the biggest star in the world to do it. And now the dam is broken.
So let me tell you my issue. I don't like identitarianism. You guys are familiar with what that is?
Well, they started it, and they've been visiting on us. We're trying to break it.
When I was asking you about running for president, you immediately said, "Well, you'd be good
Wait,
for the
who is
black
they?
vote." And I said, "Is that because I'm black?" No, not just because of that. So it was that. Are you doing the same thing?
I didn't say that was the only reason. I said it was because you're personable to the common person, and you probably would do well with the black vote. Absolutely.
Just because I'm black, there's a lot of black people that don't like me.
Of course. I think race plays a role in a lot of things.
So this is not difficult to understand if you have the mental capacity of a 5-year-old. Now, if you are of a certain race, there are certainly in-group, out-group preferences that take place as a result. So people are more likely to be trusting of individuals that share the same lived experience as you. If you are someone who is black, you are on average more likely to experience systemic racism, for example. And because that's the case, if you're a politician, you're running on a platform, and a black voter sees you, and they obviously see if you are black or not, and if you speak to the experiences you have had as an individual, growing up or what have you, and weave into it the role that race plays in those experiences, then you are more likely to appeal to that voter demographic. Just as an example. So I guess this is a way of me just saying that there are in-group, out-group biases that play a role in voters, in voting demographics. And it's not as though we're denying that's the case. That's certainly the case. But I don't think this is proof of highlighting that isn't like racist or bigoted or what have you. It's just human, or it's just psychological.
Absolutely. And I think that's
I think the construct of race has really been forced upon us as just something for us to be woke about and just constantly talk about and use it as these like walls.
Couldn't you say the same thing about Judaism?
Well, let's look at the facts of what I'm saying, though. If you say in this neighborhood where they gerrymander, there's this amount of time. So, hey, I wasn't doing that. I was just gerrymandering the lawyers and the Hollywood executives and the people at the bank that debanked me. And then
okay, so in the matter of about 10 to 10 seconds, we've jam-packed a lot of anti-Semitic dog whistles. So the use of "they" is a dog whistle in of itself, and throughout this conversation, you will pick up on that. The use of Hollywood, this is another, anti-Semitic dog whistle. Elite cabal, I mean, that's another. Like, I feel as though we're in this one sentence here. I know he didn't say elite cabal, but the point being is that we, in like 6 seconds, man, speedrun record, we've experienced already like 3 or at least 2 different like anti-Semitic dog whistles. Yeah.
Froze my accounts. It's like we want to jump into protecting the idea that we can't put a net around something, right? But that's been my job as a producer, to take, a Roy Ayers sample and put a James Brown drum and put it within a 2-minute, 3-minute song. That's the way I actually think, and that's the way I talk. And now this morning, I found out that they were trying to put me in prison because what they did was, I moved $140 million into J.P. Morgan, and I said, I want to talk to Jamie Dimon. Like, look at me, I'm just going in naive, multi-billionaire. Like, maybe Jamie Dimon will let me in on some deal flow. Wrong. And I'm just like,
what is he talking about?
My hands like, I want to meet with Jamie, and I start complaining online, and then they debank me for complaining.
Okay, so I will admit that they keep bringing this up. Debank. I'm assuming that he made. I'm assuming just based upon his rhetoric to this point that this is referring to the Jews. I mean, like it's pretty like, I don't know. It's like pretty on the nose. Like, Jews control the bank. They are quote unquote debanking me because of what I said online, and yeah, that's the vibe I got here.
And so I'm about to get.
I haven't heard that phrase.
You need to go to Trump's, the bank, AXO, whatever. You got to go. And I'm like, I've been trying to buy my own bank for the longest, and then we figured out how to get my own bank. It's like 50 million, 75 million. So
holy shit, man! He's trying to buy his own bank, like buy a bank. That's yeah. I mean, like, that's pretty emblematic of how powerful this man truly is. Like, the fact that he even has the financial resources or the connections to even ascertain the idea of buying a bank is remarkable in of itself.
I'm about to buy my own bank, but then as they're about to take the money out, here comes Adidas with a $275 million bill for marketing funds that they agreed upon. Because I said to them, hey, I'm the marketing, give me the marketing fund, which proves by the response they got when they, stole the designs and said, we're going to not call them Yeezys anymore. So this is what I was already fighting Adidas for.
This
so
was
I'm
a
fighting
really good spawn.
Gap, get out of Gap, fighting Adidas, and then I deal with this little bit of noise from, Zionism from the fashion world, where they use this plant named Gabby, who's obviously like some kind of CIA agent, knows nothing about fashion. This is a certain thing. When someone can't dress, you know that they're not like a fashion person.
Wait, hold on. Is he talking about Balancio or Belisango, or however you pronounce it? Is he talking about that right now? Oh, whoops. Yeah, okay. I just don't know exactly what he's referring to.
They're just there as like the society, like the control that they try to use with celebrities, which has now been broken, right? Because where it broke. Okay. I want to get on like LeBron in a second.
Dude, he's rambling so much. This is really like unhinged right now. Like we're jumping across like multiple different like we're leapfrogging like there's like a stream and there's these rocks and we are just like jumping from one rock to another and each rock is symbolic of like its own conspiracy. Like this is pretty crazy.
But I'm gonna come back to this and just talk about this morning where I'm not going to mention her name because she's a nice lady, but someone at Cohen Resnick tells me, and I tell all of my finance people, never use the term a lot. But they said, okay, you're going to have to pay a lot of taxes. And that made me feel like they're just like waiting, like we finally got him. We finally can put him in jail. And I was like, can I still run for president in jail? I found out I could. So I was like, okay, that's fine then. It'll be okay.
But if you were Jeffrey Epstein, they wouldn't touch your bank account. They would allow you to break the rules, regulations, just like J.P. Morgan and Chase did, just like Deutsche Bank did. So
this
there is an issue to bring up with that.
I'm sure that this guy is also like anti-Semitic, but notice how he isn't as explicit about it. Like he's using he's referring to the big banks, the corporations, and blah blah blah, like whatever, as like a dog whistle to the actual thing that he believes, which is of course that the Jews do control all these financial institutions and are trying to silence people who are trying to speak the truth or whatever. Yeah.
But when it comes to the race stuff, I think this is an important discussion to have because I
have to complete this thought. You guys got to.
Okay, go ahead. All
right, because I'm talking about literally.
I gotta keep
schizo. They were
posted.
trying to put me in prison this morning. Watch this. So
this morning.
Yes. So not come to my house this morning, but I found out. Okay, so they put a $75 million hold on 4 of my accounts. And then they said, you owe a lot of taxes. Took me like 6 hours to find out how much a lot was. They said, well, around $50 million. Now I'm going to different CFOs like, okay, so would this be tax evasion? Because I'm obviously not the most financially literate person on the planet. I was just a child, basically. Like when you become famous, you stop growing at that point. I became famous at age 24, and I had handlers around. I had my mom around, different things, and it was always
wait, what?
Handler to.
Hold on, hey, I don't know if you know this, bro, but at the age of 24, you should be able to do your own taxes. But even if you didn't know that at 24, why wouldn't you just have a accountant do it for you? Like, what is that, like, outside the realm of possibility? I mean, considering the fact that this guy is able to buy a bank or whatever, I'm sure he has the financial resources to have an accountant.
To the next handler. So now I get to actually learn how to run a company. I get to learn how to, to count. Really, I was like Pablo in a movie. It was like I didn't even know where to put the money.
I this is unbelievable. When I stopped growing at 24, I didn't know how to count. What? Excuse me?
Money, like literally making $300 million cash, but you're just like a high-priced, we're not going to use the S word just because it's like too passe to use it, but it's like what's
the S word?
Next year I was supposed to make $500 million in royalties, and like no one needs this amount
I don't know if
of
I
money. But when I would work on homeless shelters and ideas, I'd have a contractor, we won't say what race, and
literally he himself is even laughing. He's like, I like he can't help himself. He has to be anti-Semitic. It's like it's his whole thing now. Okay, I honestly didn't expect this level of delirium from him. I guess maybe delirium's the wrong way to describe it. I guess I didn't expect like this level of like being shamelessly mask off about it,
Tearing down the contracts is all about, position. It's not about the amount of money that you have. And, to come in here, I feel like it's a setup to be like defending. I'm not going to go through another, like I'm literally going to walk the F off the show if I'm sitting up here having to, talk about, you can't say that it was Jewish people that did it when every sensible person knows that. I mean, Jon Stewart knows.
Okay. I mean, is there really much to analyze? Like, he's just saying, like, the Jews are responsible for, like, this global conspiracy of, like, keeping down the black man. Like, this, like, I don't know, man. That's, like, pretty explicit here. Like, the anti-Semitism is, fairly evident. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I'm just surprised, how like honest he's being.
What happened to me, and they took it too far. It was like American History X. Like my head was on the side of the curve, and the exact people that I called out kicked my head. We found out that my trainer was a MK Ultra.
What?
Intelligence.
He worked in the.
Wait, so this is kind of what I mean. What I was saying earlier about the fact that me saying all these anti-Semitic things resulted in me losing partnership with Adidas, and that's proof that I am being suppressed by the Jews. Like, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, Like, if he says something, like, racist, or if he says something openly anti-Semitic to, like, a Jewish person's face, and they're like, that's pretty fucked up, and they're like, and then Kanye says, oh, I guess you're trying to silence me, Like, it's all, like, a self-fulfilling prophecy,
Defense research and development in the Canadian military, essentially working on psyops
Who is
in
this
the
guy?
Canadian military. This is Harley Pasternak.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, look, they tried to medicate me. I was exhausted. They wrongly diagnosed me, and they when I asked them how much.
Oh, I assure you, Kanye, that no misdiagnosis took place here. I mean, you are a living embodiment of the fact that there is a mental instability with you. Nothing wrong with that, but I mean, like, you gotta get help, man.
Lithium did you want to put me on exactly? It took them 4 days to answer because they were embarrassed about the amount, right? And I refused to take this, right? You understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears.
The fuck?
I mean, look.
They would have Michael Jackson.
Or worse, yeah.
So, look,
So now, what he's saying here is that as a product of a diagnoses from whatever the Jews, as he says, they were attempting to overdose him or kill him by way of lacing the medication with something lethal or maybe overdosing him or whatever. this is by the way just predicated on no evidence whatsoever, just his feelings, and again, this is more evidence to him that there is a global conspiracy among Jewish people to control the world, kill him. I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, the Jews. Hey, you know what? If the Jews were responsible for prescribing the medication for you, then, I mean, maybe they should have done it. Not kill you, obviously, but giving you the fucking lithium. What was he saying exactly? Say lithium. I don't know, man.
Look what they did to Brittany. When she went in, she was tired, she was exhausted, she was in a bad way.
Also,
but
Brittany
10
isn't
years
really
of that medication wrecked her brain. You can see it now. You can see there's not much of her left.
You mentioned Pasternak was the name?
Yes, Harley Pasternak. That's the text message that you posted that we were talking about before.
That's the lobotomy.
Yeah.
Before the show, obviously, I'm getting a bunch of messages from people. People are hitting me up, and they're like, you shouldn't host them. They're anti-Semitic. They're white supremacists. They're racist. I do find it funny or weird, whatever, that, Nick, they call you a white supremacist. You're here working with or for, one of the most powerful black men, one of the wealthiest and most famous. But
so, yeah, I mean, so what Tim's trying to do here, I think, is illustrate this, paint this portrait of, oh, we're all getting along, and I'm just happy you're here. I'm just happy, that we're having this conversation at all. And this, I think, might be an attempt, broadly to, maybe steer the conversation away from it being so explicitly anti-Semitic. And also, he probably recognizes that, if the conversation keeps going in a certain direction, then his show could receive a strike from YouTube. That's just a thought I have. He's got to temper the... I feel like this is like a lifeline he's throwing here. Just be like, hey Kanye, I hear ya, but let's chill on the JQing, okay?
But a lot of people were saying, on the right specifically, don't platform them. And I said, well, I want to understand what they're thinking and why they're thinking it. They're they're involved in what may be the biggest news story of the past week, and we have.
Yeah, I'm just happy you're here.
Because the red media controls both sides. I just said it as simple as.
Oh my god! Holy shit! He can't help himself. So, if you don't know, the red media, what that means, it's anti-Semitic. It's yet another anti-Semitic dog whistle. It's a little more explicit. But it refers to this video, I believe, or this list of media executives, with the ones who are Jewish being highlighted in red. So it basically just refers to a list of media celebrities, and the ones that are Jewish are the ones who are highlighted in red. So he's basically just saying, instead of red media, just replace it with the Jews. Yeah. The elite Jews, I guess.
Jared Kushner was next to Trump. Ron Emanuel was next to Obama.
But
since 1940, go ahead.
I was going to say, isn't that an issue of these individuals? You're extrapolating.
I'm going to order with the last of my money that's available in a different account. I'm going to order a PJ before I sit and have another Lex Friedman setup conversation. When I'm literally they're trying to put me in jail for my opinion. But I get that. I'm not going to have that opinion. I don't care about people.
So notice how he didn't actually respond to what Tim said. What Tim said was, well, isn't that a problem with individuals? Referring to, it's not all Jews, it's some of them. I don't know, it's he may want to have steer that conversation more into the realm of well, because of certain conditions, maybe Jews have a disproportionate amount of power. Of course, he doesn't really believe that necessarily. He's probably just tempering it just for the fact that he's on YouTube or whatever. But Kanye again knows how he doesn't answer. He says basically that they are trying to put him in jail. So because the Jews, even though I doubt it's Jewish people, are trying to put him in jail, which I also don't believe. This therefore means that the rhetoric he lays out with respect to all these other conspiracies is equally, it's valid. It's like proof of it, you know. But again, he didn't actually answer to what Tim was saying, which, I mean, he was referring to the individual level, and Kanye shifted it more into the, you know, broad group level. Just something I noticed.
Those are bots that are trying to tell you. We realize, look at Pence. He sold Trump out. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I would have never wanted to do anything that hurt Trump. I'm on Trump's side. Trump said things that hurt me. He lied about me, but I mean, he's known for lying. And when people used to tell me that, you know, he's a liar, it's like, you know, I went into the trenches for Trump. That's another conversation. There was no one in my position that wore that hat. And all of my surroundings exhausted me. It was like death by 1,000 questions. I know I'm jumping to another thing, but what I'm saying is, I know you got a rep for your people online, but it's you got a person in real life that.
Oh, come on, dude. Okay, Tim's audience is not a bunch of Jews. I mean, like, most of the people in his audience are like Nazis themselves, and you know, in fact, it's so common or so readily known that, you know, his audience is a bunch of, you know, Nazis, that you can even look in, you know, the comment section here. I won't do it right now, but I have seen comments in the past on Tim Pool's videos, and they are, you know, like, you know, people who espouse Nazi talking points, so it wouldn't be necessarily unreasonable to assume that they were Nazis themselves. There is technically, or there can be technically, an overlap between Nazis and Jews, but like, it's really uncommon. So the presupposition that most of his audience are just Nazis is not really one that's grounded in like some sort of wacky idea.
I'm not with it, bro. I lost the money for the freedom of speech, and that's what makes me the only American that we know that really deserves to run the country, because everyone else, your boy DeSantis, Trump, whoever they raise in a petri dish over on the Democrat side is going to play the game.
Look,
and, like,
here's what I was trying to get to. You went right into the anti-Semite thing. I think it's something that should be talked about, but if you start bringing this up, you're going to ask my opinion on it. I'm going to disagree with you.
I didn't ask your opinion on it. You jumped into it.
He keeps talking about it.
I don't care about your opinion. I like your opinion on how we win an election, but I don't care about anybody's opinion, bro. I lost. They tried to put me in jail. They blocked.
Again, I do not believe that for a second. Also, by the way, the whole Adidas thing, like, yeah, I mean, dude, if you're going to be anti-Semitic and they drop you for that, then, like, you can't really cry wolf when you said that you're going to be the marketing for them. Because if you had broken their contract and started doing shit that made the company believe that you were not a, you know, good representation of their product, then they have every right to, you know, drop you as a, you know, spokesperson or as an advertiser.
$2 billion I had. Like what I told Farrakhan, I said, look, is it anti-Semitic for me to say his name out loud? Like, I told
minister.
The minister. Like, I told
Obama met with him, too.
Oh, he was, I mean, the Jewish people allowed Obama to meet with the minister. You know, so...
What? This is a level of delirium that I don't believe I've experienced since discussing like, this is something as masked off as you can see, like, I that rivals, like, you know, JLP. You know, like, I can't think of a closer example here. Like, the degree of, like, shamelessness is uncanny. I don't think I've ever seen it before. I mean, the extent to which I have, I guess, you know, in, like, modern, like, not in modern age, but, like, if you go back in time, I guess, like, in Nazi rallies in 1930s, probably find some shit, but this is pretty shameless.
Can't say, well, did he have the money? The contract for the next 4 years, if I hadn't done anything, would have been $500 million a year for 4 years. What I was fighting for was the IP, so my children could, you know, I'm sorry, just sometimes I think about 7 thoughts at one time, because anything I see.
Yeah, another piece of evidence that, you know, he's losing it. Yeah, I mean, like, look, if you are somebody who is, and this is not me being like a dig, it kind of is, but like at the same time it isn't. He is like mentally unwell, and the fact that I mean, like, the fact that he's having all these thoughts, I'm like, dude, yeah, maybe the Jews should have put you on medication, you know? I mean, take your fucking lithium.
I come up with like 7 answers to it and then just choose what it is. But the thing is, when I said my children, the reason why my brain kind of blocked, because it's like God is saying, you know, your children are going to be okay. You know, baby mama's got money, right? God is using me. He's breaking me down, removing all of the, you know, richest person, all of this, so I can serve him. And the more and more those things are taken away from me, the more I can be empty and be a...
So this reminds me of divine command theory. This idea that, like, it's not even like when you're so far gone and you're so detached from reality that you defer to this, you know, grander thing of like a higher being or whatever. You know, there's levels to it, right? There is levels to that. But the extent to which Kanye seems to be engaging in this is so beyond what your average person would, you know, articulate, that it comes off like it not, I don't know if it's like dogmatism, but like it's very adherent to like the idea of like this divine, like, you know, spirit or God or whatever that is, you know, as he said, challenging him to, you know, he's challenging me to sacrifice my reputation to, you know, expose the Jews or something, you know? It's like, there's a lot of, like, really nefarious, like, things that you can utilize with that frame of reasoning, right? If you think that way, there's a lot of justifications you can use to post hoc, you know, whatever behavior or, you know, rhetoric you otherwise espouse.
Vessel and be able to be used. And right now it's like, you're not going to take, if we can't, you're not going to take my pain away, right? The Jewish people say, it's the Holocaust, this happened, and you can't say anything about it. We can't take their pain away. No one's going to denounce the fact that they try.
Is he saying the Holocaust did not happen? Interesting take. I wonder what the source he has on that is.
Try to lock me up. That's what, because every time I'm just holding stride, and it's like, I thought I was more Malcolm X, but I find out I'm more MLK, because as I'm getting hosed down every day by the press and financially, I'm just standing there. And when I
so this is like, it talk about not being able to read a room. Right. So like, yeah, I mean, like, a lot of the reason why you're being so lambasted online is because, like, dude, you're saying silly shit. Silly stuff. Very silly. And if you say silly stuff, you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna reap what you sow, as they say. I mean, if you're anti-Semitic, and openly anti-Semitic, I mean, don't be surprised when people start, you know, calling you out for it. Not even just that, dude. Like, if you're openly anti-Semitic, like, you're gonna have shit like, what was I saying? You have people dropping, you know, you as partners, or you know, these companies are gonna, you know, not want to be affiliated with you. So, like, don't be fucking surprised about that.
Found out that they tried to put me in jail, it was like a dog was biting my arm, and I almost shed a tear, almost, but I still walked in stride through it. Yeah.
I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who was they, though? We can't say who they is, can we?
Press. I'm not using I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking
it is
about
them, though, isn't it? I mean,
dude, he is trying so hard to reel it back. He's like, can't say, like, he knows, man. Like, this is incredible. Like, because for a long time, okay, my job as a content creator, or as like a political commentator, whatever you want to describe it, like, is to parse through the bullshit and the layers of coded language that these bottom feeders engage in. And, like, you know, Tim Pool unambiguously serves the interests of the Nazis, but he needs to code his language. And this is not even something you only see with like Tim Pool. Obviously, you experience it with many different conservative, pundits or commentators or whatever. Yeah, you see this everywhere, and you mean you can't just, if you're openly transphobic or openly anti-Semitic, it doesn't, like, the problem with that is that it makes your you can turn off potential people from your movement. So, like, yeah, I mean, like, look, the whole thing here is, like, my job, the way I see it at least, is to parse through the bullshit and to identify when shit is, when that shit is popping up, right? Gotta highlight it. And we're seeing a remarkable demarcation with those two things happening here. Because, like, Kanye is being openly anti-Semitic, to the point where even Tim Pool is, like, I wouldn't say uncomfortable with it, but he's definitely, like, straddling a line here. He doesn't want to turn off, a certain part of his audience or potential audience. Not only that, but obviously TOS, shit is involved in it. But yeah, I mean, like, that's it's remarkable, man, seeing the difference here. Now, what Tim Pool could say is something like, well, I think that there is a conversation to be had regarding, like, Jewish people controlling or having a disproportionate representation in media or what have you. That is a conversation we can have. He's not going to make any sort of, like, affirmative statements, but he will dog whistle towards it. But with Kanye, he's so anti-Semitic that, like, he can't keep the lid shut. He has to, like, go openly, like, well, we can't say who's they, like, he needs to be openly anti-Semitic, and this might be a consequence of his mental unwellness. That's, like, why he can't, like, read the room, but yeah, I don't know.
Because because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean? Like, okay, so how about, are you leaving?
Oh, damn.
Are you referring to the press?
He left?
I'll say it right now.
Okay, I knew that happened.
You guys want to bring that stuff up? And then think we're not going to have a conversation?
Like, have the discussion.
Like, you think he's going to come in here and say, here's my pain, here's my suffering, I'm going to say, I hear you. And then he's going to say, and it was Jewish people, and I'm going to be like, okay, but don't you consider, it's like, I'm not going to do this, I refuse.
Go, make sure he's cool.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so that was the thing I knew that happened. I didn't know that it happened this quickly, though. That's pretty remarkable. Yeah, so he just gets up and leaves. So, that's, wow. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with here. That is how bad it is. Kanye is very anti-Semitic. Like, to the point where even, like, hinting towards there being an alternate explanation for what he's describing, or any even slight repudiation of his conspiracy theories is met with, like, I'm getting up, I can't I gotta leave, you're ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we are at that degree of insanity. What does Tim say, though? I'm curious.
Right. Luke and I will have a conversation. So, I can't say I'm surprised. What do I even do? Other than ask him, please elaborate on this. Are you referring to individuals, or are you quite literally blaming an entire group of people for the fact that powerful individuals are causing you harm?
I really wanted to ask Nick about his thoughts about MLK, because I know they contradict his comments about that. But again, these are mass generalizations that don't really help anyone in my perspective. They just kind of sound like their opposition. They sound what they're kind of going against, the woke mob that's always saying white men are responsible for everything. When I see people just use generalizations, it kind of cheapens the conversations. It cheapens a dialogue that we could have here that I was planning to talk to Ye about, specifically bringing up like, hey, let's actually talk about this in a real concise way. Let's not get emotional. Let's not walk out of here. Let's actually
let me tell
control
all you
ourselves.
guys outright. I said,
Here's the thing, though. Okay, and this is what I think. So I was kind of right here. He is too openly anti-Semitic. That's like the thing here, right? Like, he's like so anti-Semitic that, you know, they can't dance around it. And anyway, like, there's no dancing around it. If you're not like full on, you know, unfiltered, blah, like mask off, whatever, then to Kanye, the conversation isn't worth having, supposedly.
this is going to be a big issue. Before the show, obviously, people are going to bring up the questions of anti-Semitism. Why don't we talk about the news? I want to hear what happened with this meeting. I want to understand what Ye 24 is, and then we can do a longer conversation about any of that stuff. And Ye, literally in the first 5 minutes, says, no, I want to talk about a group of people and point to them. Whatever, man. This, you want to know why? Look, you're not going to sit here and you're going to walk out of the room. You're free to do so, man. But literally, I said a couple sentences about, I don't think that's fair. Did I insult the man? He seriously can't handle? He can't handle it?
He also left during the Pierce Morgan interview he did, but he came back. So, again, we should be able to have this conversation. What's up, Chris? Oh, yeah.
Look, man, I wanted to talk to these guys about why they're meeting with Trump.
Chris.
I want to know what happened with
So are
the
they
dinner,
leaving for
because
real?
we hear
Yeah.
a lot of rumors about it.
I want to hear about their
And that's
2024 platform, which they were promising, which they were talking about, like they're going to be officially.
Let me explain to everybody.
running.
Unfortunately,
way
they
too
walked
cold.
out. Fine, maybe they'll come back. Whatever. This is the biggest challenge with dealing with identitarianism. I do not believe that the predeterminate factor in someone's worth, value, or agenda is based on immutable characteristics. Kanye is a black man. He does not represent all black people. There are Jewish individuals who work in banks. Dave Chappelle made the joke about Jewish people in Hollywood. And he said, but it doesn't mean anything. You got a lot of black people in Ferguson, doesn't mean they run the place. The point is, I'm all about individualism, meritocracy, personal responsibility. That means an individual of any background can be capable of anything. More importantly, we have employees here who are Jewish, who spend time in Israel, and would probably agree with a lot of issues that they would talk about, especially as it pertains to America first, bringing jobs back here and securing our borders. But then it's just like every step of the way, it's like, bro, if you live in a world where a single group of people is haunting you, you're trapped. You're not going to get out. The issue is you can overcome anything. I understand, and I empathize that there are powerful business interests that are coming at Kanye. And I will also say this.
Okay, again, so there you have it right there. He said powerful interests are going after Kanye. This is a dog whistle. This is a dog whistle to the JQ. But because Kanye is too open about the anti-Semitism part, Tim Pool has to reel it back a little bit, right? And that's that's like the demarcation between Tim Pool and Kanye. That's the difference there, right?
To get into the Trump stuff, when Kanye mentioned he got suspended on Twitter, then he gets word that Milo wants to meet up with him. Then Milo puts him in touch with Fuentes. My immediate question is, okay, my thought to myself, we really want to know about the inner details of this Trump meeting. I guess it's not going to happen. My question then is, don't you think that, if Kanye is going to say these things and then immediately start getting involved with Fuentes, that only amplifies the accusations made against him? But I guess if they genuinely believe these things, that's who they are.
I was dying to interrupt. I was dying to say a whole bunch of stuff during his conversation. I respectively, didn't. I was waiting to counter back, but we didn't even push back at all. Really, we didn't even really say anything crazy out there. I mean, come on. Like we should at least have the tough conversations. We should debate these ideas.
What does he think's going on?
And I don't know, but I just wish people were, again, like, hey, you don't agree with me 100%?
So this is one of those things where I kind of actually agree with Tim Pool, because, like, having the conversation is actually could be useful. I don't necessarily agree with the whole like we can't platform dangerous ideas. I think there is a cutoff point though, because like you can't have somebody who's like gonna spout the N-word or be whatever off the rockers shit batshit insane. But discussing things, and they sound like they want to discuss not really the Jews, like they just want to talk about like the dinner and their platform, Yay 2024 and shit like that. Okay, that's cool. But because there was a little, I don't even think there was really that much pushback, really. The most slight pushback in the world against like, hey, maybe the Jews don't control the world. This alone was enough to solicit such a devastating response by Kanye that he felt the need to walk up and leave. In this respect, I think that Tim Pool is entitled to be, I guess annoyed. I don't know.
That's fine. That's okay. I'm not gonna run away. Like, come on. Let's have this discussion. Let's have this conversation. I really wanted to talk about Balenciaga. I really wanted to talk about Harley Pasternak. I really wanted to talk about Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle talked about a lot of the things that Ye was warning about, specifically with people trying to drug him, specifically with people trying to.
Yeah, I call bullshit on that. I think that this is just an appeal to conspiracy, because like you need to have some hard fucking evidence to prove that somebody was out to premeditated to kill you off of like giving you medication that he supposedly desperately needs. Yeah, I mean that's going to be a tough sell for you, boy.
Course, get him on big pharma medicines. He was again sent to.
Again, these are all dog whistles. Getting them on big pharma, like trying to brainwash them on big pharma. Like these guys are really not that much. They're really no better at the end of the day, because they both of these groups of people embolden fascism to an extent. But one of them is more honest about it than the other. In that respect, I guess you can like look at it in one of two different ways. I mean, like you could look at it like at least he's honest about his anti-Semitism, and Tim Pool isn't. I don't know. They both embolden the same, ideology, but one of them is just more honest about it.
He was institutionalized a couple years ago, specifically on November 21st, 2016. He's pointing a lot of this blame on this Harley Pasternak guy, who, again, he's the one who's training Lizzo, Elliot Page. He was training Brittany Murphy. He trained a lot of controversial figures, and he is connected to Canadian military psyops. That's we should know what else is happening behind the scenes there, what else he knows. But
before the show,
we can't even get that.
Before the show, Ye was like, "This was funny." He's like, "How do I become president? How do you win?" And I thought it was a rhetorical question, because like, why would I know that question? And he was like, "Hey man, I asked you a question. What do you think?" And I was like, "Oh, ballot harvesting, like hands down." You go to door to door. He brought it up when he mentioned that I said that he would do well with the black vote. I feel like that's kind of oversimplifying what I said. What I said was that he's a celebrity. He's a personable character. He appeals to regular people more so. If he knocked on the door and you said Trump, Biden, yay, they'd be like, yay. But I do think that he would do. I do think he would do better with the black vote, simply because there's people who look up to him because they can see themselves in him. Now,
really?
Let me
I mean, maybe
that's actually more
Nazis.
of a leftist position, this woke position.
What?
Because I don't completely disagree with every component of what diversity is. I think that it's true that if you're a little kid growing up in this country and you're not white, but all you ever see on billboards and all you ever see on TV is white people, that means something, that has an effect on you. And that's basically what I'm getting to. All I can really say is this. Bro, if I can't ask you questions calmly, like, hey, but don't you think this is like localizing? He could have been like, I don't, I genuinely view it this way. And I'd have said, well, okay, I can only ask you the question. You're allowed to believe what you want to believe. But dude, like, what did I ask him? Like 3 questions about it? And he just got up and left. Like, he's going to come here and just talk and be uninterrupted. Before we started the show, he said, hey, we're doing this show. Why don't we do it every week? And I'm like, what is this? Is because you can't get enough on any other shows? I'm sorry, bro. This is not a show where you come in and talk by yourself and say whatever you want and say things that are that warrant
that are
questioning, at the very least.
that you can't say things that are openly anti-Semitic. You can dog whistle, but you can't say it openly. That's basically that's really like what it comes down to for Tim Pool here. He doesn't like the fact that he's so open about the anti-Semitism. Fundamentally, he serves the interest. Keep this in mind. Tim Pool. He serves the interests of anti-Semites. Whether he does it willingly or not, or like, cognizant of that fact or not, I can't really know that, but this is certainly the outcome of that kind of behavior.
At least for clarification.
Yeah, I mean, everything should be
exactly.
questioned. Everything should be debated. Everything should be, talked about. We shouldn't stray away from uncomfortable situations. We decide to take things head on. Like, we have our particular viewpoints. They have theirs. It's obviously there's a difference. Obviously, we believe in different things. Let's see which idea is better. Let's see which
really
idea
disagree
wins
with
out
Kanye.
in the public sphere. Let's actually have that conversation, and it's kind of sad that we can't.
Well, I think it's funny that we got people in super chats who are like, "Why didn't you just let him keep talking and keep talking?"
But that's not how the show works. We cut each other off all the time.
So the problem here is because the people who are saying that are Nazis themselves. But if you just let somebody talk, then it's not really like a conversation. Then it is like a monologue, and like you're allowing such unhinged behavior to go unchecked. Like at some point you have to be like, hey, can we chill out with the the whole Jews control the world rhetoric? You kind of have to intervene at some point.
Time. I just cut you off right now.
I know.
Right? This is the way we do the
Guys,
show.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not here to do a show where we let one look. We had Milo come on a couple weeks ago, and he mostly just talked.
Fuck.
And I think there's something interesting
Did
there.
I really not
Milo
get it?
had been banned for a really long time.
No, I did not.
Hadn't spoken out in years.
Great.
Ye's been on a whole bunch of podcasts. So when we were talking about bringing them on, I said, look, man, after the Cowgirl
I don't know if
House
I'm gonna be
stuff,
able to get
people
there
were like, are you
alive.
going to get him on the show? And I'm like, I don't want to chase after a dude who, he's in the news. Ye goes on Rogan before. He goes on Friedman. And then I'm like, that's cool. They got those conversations. Then we were told we would get Milo, Fuentes, and Ye at the same time, and we could talk about this big news, because that's what we do. We are a topical news show with guests. We are not Joe Rogan Experience. We're not guest interviews. And so with Milo, we had him on, and it turned into something different because the man's been out of the limelight for 5 years and came back and said Trump supporters want revenge. So here on this show, I don't know to tell you,
I
man.
got it.
Ye doesn't have to do anything. He owes me no
cool.
favors. He wanted to come on the show, but he didn't want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I didn't disrespect him. We were nice to him. We hung out with him before the show. We tried to accommodate him to the best of our abilities, but he didn't want to entertain a conversation. I can't make him. He doesn't owe me that. He can leave. That's his thing. Appreciate him trying as best as he did. That's about it.
All right, cool. Oh, let me whoops. All right. So what did we learn? I don't know if we learned much. Outside the fact that this is a pretty open anti-Semitism to the point where we're having a problem here with these conservatives, because you're not going to be able to exploit conservatives, or the conservatives aren't going to be able to exploit Kanye West for his whatever, just by virtue of the fact that he's so openly anti-Semitic that it could harm their own respective platforms. And that seems to be the whole thing here. And building upon that, now I can't really show. He was also on Alex Jones, which we'll take a look at right now. Hold on one second. There's also Alex Jones. There are some clips I'd like to watch. Can't watch all of them because of copyright, which is fine, I guess. But yeah, okay. Let's see how far he goes here. Okay. Window. There is my face. Fascism is trending on Twitter. That's comforting. All right. Yeah.
So we're gonna.
I gotta watch my accounts because they've been frozen by Jewish banks. So.
Oh man! Right off the bat, we're getting knee deep or head first into this pile of shit.
Oh, I need to watch my meals.
Well, CNN says white people are evil Nazis, so I mean I disagree with both statements, but I get the pros.
I don't like the word evil next to Nazis. I think we need to look at.
Oh my!
Wow, he's more open about this than on Tim Pool. And what is he wearing? What is that? A ski mask?
My goodness! Just because you don't like one group doesn't mean the other. Look,
I love Jewish people, but I also love Nazis.
So, this is not true. And I do not believe that he loves Jewish people. I think that he's just saying that. There's basically no evidence that he loves Jewish people, like zero.
Oh man, well I have to disagree with that.
Dude, you know how bad you have to be to get fucking Alex Jones, okay? The guy who engaged in Sandy Hook denialism. You know how bad you have to be to get him to be like, let's chill out a little bit on the Jews. You know, like, Jesus Christ, dude. You know, like, Jesus.
For the ADL or anybody else?
But for the ADL, I want to say there's a lot of good Nazis that were just fighting for their country. And for them all...
Like George Soros.
For them all to get put in a box. They're all in a box. Every Nazi's bad.
What is he talking... Wait. Okay, I don't know the bit he's doing here, but... if you want to be technical about it, like, there might have been some Nazis who were conscripted into the military to conduct a mass genocide of Jewish people. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because, like we're splitting hair. We're not even just splitting hairs here. We're splitting atoms. You know, like, who gives a fuck?
Well, could some of the Nazis have just been fighting for their country? Oh, they're all... Oh, we can't put them all in a box.
No, I get you're explaining that, like you said, you love the Zionists. You don't agree with some of the things they're doing, even though you don't support a lot of what's happening. Seriously, I've really studied a lot of history. Plus, I had family that was there, and so I mean, I don't think Hitler was a good guy. I get the.
So, we're hearing the bold take taken by Alex Jones, like a really bold take here. You know, Hitler's bad. Let's see how I guess EA responds.
Go Bosch uniforms, amazing.
Well, I guess we've already seen.
But I mean, just because you're in love with the design, you're a designer. Can we just kind of say, like, you like the uniforms, but that's about it?
No. There's a lot of things that.
That face says it all, man. Well, he's so Alex Jones is desperately throwing a lifeline to EA here. He's like, please stop being so anti-Semitic.
About it.
There's a.
Look at that face. It's like, oh, God. Jesus Christ, I made a mistake inviting him.
A lot of things that I love about Hitler. A lot of things.
Okay, I know he's going through some mental crisis right now, but, like... I guess... I don't know. I'm speechless, I guess.
Hey, Netten, what did you think about that, Netten? This is insane. You are an insane person. How could you say something? It's okay that...
So let me ask you, you like the Azov battalion because they openly howl Hitler. They're the leftovers of World War II. They support Zelensky and attacking Russia. So you like the Azov battalion?
I love everyone.
Well, my point is you weren't involved with Hitler. You didn't do anything. So having the ADL say anybody that opposes communism and the New World Order is a Nazi, well, you kind of get what you give, you know?
No one cares about the ADL. They're played out. Jesus is
Well, they ran Twitter till last week, but yeah, I hear you.
They don't run.
That's not true, but okay.
On anything. No one knows the age. No one cares. They're played out. Look at, people have had a problem. Look at Clockwork Orange. There's a part where a Jewish guy makes the guy kiss the shoe, and he says, kiss the Jew. Like, people have had issues with Jewish people forever. But what I'm saying is, I love Jewish people.
Orange.
I love Jewish
Since we're talking about Stanley Kubrick, put the War Room background up at the end there. You think Clockwork Orange is about Jews?
Absolutely.
Why is Fuentes like sometimes I forget he's there. Like, he's just quietly in the corner, just like, I don't know what he's doing, man. He's probably rethinking his life choices. Associating with Kanye. You gotta wonder, like, what's going on behind the scenes there, you know?
I want to say with Ben Shapiro, he was so disrespectful to his employee, Candace Owens, for speaking out against me. And that just showed you another level of this kind of control that's out there.
No, I agree. I like Candace. She has a lot of courage. She's a really smart, beautiful lady. Really defended you. But, I mean, are you saying Ben Shapiro's got her on a leash?
I think it's pretty obvious.
So, again, this is placating to the... Oh, I gotta say names of this. So this is, of course, placating to the idea that, like, because Ben is Jewish, he has, you know, he's pulling the strings, you know, he is responsible for, like, you know, controlling Candace Owens, and he has her under his thumb, you know, her career-wise. You know, this placates to that conspiracy, the broader conspiracy, right?
You know, as our Paul Watson, we didn't launch her; she deserved it. But InfoWars launched Candace Owens.
Yes, but everyone is still controlled by the Jewish media. We need to serve Christ first. Christ first. I want to say...
So everybody's controlled by... So there isn't really much political now. Like, we'll get to, like, the implications behind this, I guess, after we watch the clips here.
What do you... Because obviously you're with a lot of fashion brands. Now all the stuff's come out. It's almost like they did this on purpose as a PR stunt.
I think so. You know, I'm friends with the head designer, and I believe that it was a setup. I think it was a hit job, and now...
Okay, I'm not really interested in the Balenciaga thing.
It's like, I've known a lot of Jews in my life, and I didn't have the Hollywood experience you had. All the Jews in my life, overall, were very nice people, is all I'm saying.
I'm actually tired of hearing about the Jews. Like, I love them, honestly.
He's the one that keeps bringing them up.
I don't even care that much, you know.
But we spent the last 2 hours talking about them. I mean,
because it's fun. It's fun.
You don't want to hear about them. You want to talk about them all day.
Because being canceled is fun because we're showing you guys the extent that you can go, right?
Okay, again, this is... Oh my God, this is like the third time that this has been demonstrated. The fact that he thinks that, you know, being so openly anti-Semitic, the fact that you can exhibit such behavior and therefore be met with you know, consequences, whether it be social ostracization or being, you know, banned for violating TOS or what have you, that is further proof of the conspiracy itself, is just, again, like, underlying the mental, you know, gymnastics you have to go through in order to justify, you know, like, it's a roundabout way of justifying the broader conspiracy. Again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in that respect.
Right? Because everything at this point that you do proves my point. Watch this. If I say DEFCON 3 and then you cancel all of my deals, you proved exactly why I needed to go DEFCON.
Well, again, this is... Man, the guy his brain is broken. The reason why your deals are being canceled it's because you're it's because of the fact that you're being anti-Semitic. That doesn't prove, to make the leap from that to Jews are controlling all of Hollywood or whatever, is, outside of being a non sequitur, just deeply, like, you have to, I don't know, man, like, there has to be something wrong with your brain to think that way, to be so warped. That like, if you're like, I don't even know how to explain. It's like if you go into a public park and start screaming anti-Semitic, you know, tropes or profanities, and somebody comes up to you and yells at you, and you take that as, hey, the Jews are controlling your minds. and like it's just like it doesn't connect there. You know, the dots aren't aligning.
Oh no, I agree with what you just said. Let me stop you because Dave Chappelle.
Alex,
go ahead.
let me channel.
All right, go ahead.
Channel. All right. If I and Dave Chappelle works for the Jews anyway. So if I say now I forgot what I had to say. Let me meditate. Let me get into a place.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Love you, brother. Jesus is king.
Let me reconfigure my mindset to bring this back to the Jews.
Well, I just think you should not want to be Hitler's coming man.
I didn't say I was. I don't really care that much about Hitler. I love him. Seems like
You just do it as a way to like troll.
no, he seems like a cool guy. You know, it's like he.
Dude, his reaction, Alex Jones. Look at this.
Seems like a cool guy. You know, it's like.
Oh my God, he's like, fuck, man. I don't know how many times. I don't know how many lifeline. I'm running out of lifeboats here. I can't keep. We're all gonna drown. I can't fucking do it, man. He's throwing the entire fucking all the life vests on board to Kanye, and he's just like, oh my God.
Like he it's like he had a really cool outfit and stuff, and he was a really good architect. And
what? Oh my God. A cool architect. Another fascist dog whistle. Just so you're aware.
And
so you're in love with the look of it.
And he didn't kill 6 million Jews. That's just like factually incorrect.
Guys, get the Ronald Reagan.
So technically, if you want to be like super technical about it, Hitler didn't directly put a gun behind every Jewish person's head and pull the trigger. That isn't what happened. But he certainly facilitated the violence that was enacted upon the Jewish population, not even just the Jewish population, but across multiple different minority groups. He was the one responsible for the mass extermination that took place in, the middle of the 20th century. But no, this is not surprising, the fact that he's gone down this road, Holocaust denial. If he believes that, Jewish people are so powerful that they can, rewrite your DNA, then I'm sure he believes that it is possible for, history to have been written by the victors, as they say.
The clip they showed me yesterday. Sorry, go ahead. Ronald Reagan said that too. Well, I think Hitler did target and kill some people. So I think,
I think Obama killed Palestinians.
That's not. So this is a whataboutism because you're not actually addressing the Hitler argument.
Oh, no, I hear you. Here's where I think the frustration is. And
Alex Jones is
and
like
Obama was
playing
not the
damage
first black
control so
president.
hard.
He was another Jewish president.
Americans are tired.
Wait, what did you say?
I think the frustration is, and Nick, you can comment on this.
And Obama was not the first black president. He was another Jewish president.
I'm pretty sure Obama was Catholic.
Americans are tired of hearing that we're Hitler and that we did bad things when we defeated Hitler. And that's my biggest beef.
Let's not say his name anymore. Only say Christ's name moving forward.
I agree.
Like,
I'm tired of hearing I'm a Nazi. I'm really, because I'm not. But I think by them falsely accusing people, some people are going to become Nazis.
I am. Now what?
What? Okay, I don't really. And what's going on in the background? What is this meeting? You see what I'm seeing here? Like, there's like black and white. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
25% what he says. Some things I don't agree with. But the point is, I think he cares about people. He's a real guy, and he's nothing compared to the left saying all whites are devils and criminals. So they're way more racist than he is. But I get, what he's been saying. You kind of got mad at him and said, hey, don't disrespect me with my billions they just stole, because he said, hey, maybe it was never yours. I think his point is what you just made. If they can grab it out of your account, it's never yours unless it's your farm, your people,
really
your
sure
kids, your thing. It's not yours. I don't think he was dissing your success. I think he was saying, was it ever yours to begin with? They could take it.
Our life is not ours. It's God's.
So now you get what he was saying.
I talked to the ministers.
Oh, good. So you're not mad at him now.
I'm not mad at anyone. I'm not mad at Ari.
Well, if it's not off record, tell us about the conversation.
On the record, Ari Emanuel, if you need me and your wife to step into a private room and have me work on her clothing line, I'm here.
Okay.
But
Okay. Yeah. So look here. What is the broader political ramifications of this? All right, let's engage in some analysis here. Okay. So the fact that we are seeing this openness to anti-Semitism is concerning, obviously, but why is this happening right now, right? Well, it has been bubbling up, anti-Semitism and general disdain of minority groups for a long time now. It has never really vanquished, but the ubiquity of the ubiquity of the white supremacist talking points, or sympathetic fascist actors. I think that this ubiquity, it seemed to have it has been bubbling up, but it seemed to have really ramped up after 2016. Trump and his cult of personality created the environment, in my opinion, to allow for these things, this adherence to nationalism, as one example, to become very prevalent within the mainstream, Republican ideology. Now, couple that with the fact that the conspiracy of QAnon, and you start to go down multiple different rabbit holes. One of these rabbit holes include, but it's not limited to, being anti-Semitic, being a Nazi, a neo-Nazi, what have you. And it's somebody, now with respect to Kanye specifically, he's an individual who has, and no doubt, suffered from and is currently suffering from a mental illness. And, his, I think that creates, a condition that creates the preconditions for somebody to be dropped into one of these conspiracy theory rabbit holes. Now with conservatism, generally speaking, it's pretty easy, especially if you're mentally unwell, to believe in the ideology itself, because a lot of it is predicated on this appeal to intuition and appeal to tradition and things of that nature. And, it requires almost exclusively this rejection of empiricism and utilitarianism. And, as far as the rise of this sort of Nazi fascist, tidal wave we're seeing right now, I think it's, again, obviously attributable in some parts to the cult of personality that Trump brought to the mainstream conservative movement. I also believe that the extent to which capitalism has disaffected, people in this country, and I guess across the world, but especially in the United States, has led to them feeling more related to, they feel more relatable to the populist movement, which can be certainly exploited by I guess both parties, but conservatives historically have exploited economic insecurity and things of that nature to pull people to the far right. And when you pull them further to the right off of one or two issues, you can start to intertwine certain things to make them believe other parts of the broader ideology. This includes, QAnon, or everybody is in Hollywood is a pedophile, or all these different things, right? And so I think that, and as I already mentioned, Trump is responsible not just for that cult personality, but also for bringing it forth the populist rhetoric that has been utilized by other politicians to bring people further to the right. With the rise of anti-Semitism, we are witnessing now, I think that, Kanye has been a very vocal, proponent of this anti-Semitic rhetoric. And consequently, we're seeing, certain politicians and pundits alike basically telling him to reel it back a little bit, because fundamentally they aren't against the idea of like rounding up Jews and gassing them. They are, however, against being so open about it. And consequently, they have to when they have them on these shows, right, like with Alex Jones or Tim Pool, Kanye's going to get pushed back, and he's not going to like. He's just too mentally unstable to recognize the nuance associated with layering your language or coding your language to appeal to this broader audience. Because if you're too open about the anti-Semitism bit, then you're going to lose these different revenue streams. You're going to lose the appeal to people who are more moderate, conservatives, and you're not going to be able to cultivate this like larger movement. So you have to really be like layer your or code your language appropriately. And because of his mental instability, he doesn't seem to recognize that, but the people around him do, and are basically telling him to like reel back on it, But again, this is kind of the direction we're seeing. That I really am curious how the Conservative Party is going to move forward with this, because you have DeSantis running in 2024, you have Kanye who's also running in 2024, as well as Trump, and they're going to have to be able to navigate this this shit appropriately. I think that DeSantis is especially equipped to appeal to the moderates, I suppose, by not being so anti-Semitic. Now again, all these people are perfectly fine with serving the interests of fascists, but some of them are more intelligent than others with respect to appealing to that broader audience. Kanye is not one of those people, because he's too open about the anti-Semitism bit. Even Trump. Trump is remarkably unintelligent, but one thing he is at least somewhat cognizant of is branding. And when it comes to branding, you don't want to brand yourself as like super, for the sake of consolidating power. You don't want to be too like in your face anti-Semitic, right? Now, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, yes, of course, I hate Jewish people and I hate trans people and whatever. But, speaking out loud to the general population, you have to, code it into, like, by using dog whistles, the deep state, big tech, what have you, red media, right? Like, you use all these different dog whistles. So, anyway, that is the big chunk of what I had to say about all that. But man, I'll tell you, it's pretty remarkable the level of derangement we're experiencing from Kanye. Pretty crazy. Yeah. Okay. Well, with that being said, I believe I think I'll wrap it up for today. Oh, my back is hurting. But yeah, hopefully by next week the world doesn't implode, or Kanye doesn't I don't know, do something else that's crazy. But yeah, that's really about it for today. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next week.